of women's bodybuilding back then. You may have something to say.
Thinking.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Mikhail came back. He just wait a minute. Give me a second. Here you go. Kale is back. You
Yeah.
know, but Bev was just one of those ladies who came close. I mean, I know she had to one point around about the late to the mid 80s. She had to change her look because they felt like she was too you know, masculine in her appearance. So she did soften a little bit. She got hair stitching. She did some little surgeries here and there. Nothing too big, but enough to where it tried to soften her look as a woman. So and what y'all thoughts of Bev Francis? If you do feel like she deserved to be Miss Olympia during her career,
I don't know. I don't
Honest,
know.
honestly, I know she kind of that was kind of it was controversial at the time when she. But again, I really felt like Victus was a new game changer at the time. Maybe I guess that would have been an interesting change in history if she kept going for a couple more few more shows with this level of muscle. I guess, but I guess they were. I think it wasn't up to the standards that I think it was beyond the standards. But I respect her for what she did at the time, and maybe.
were you about to say something, KL?
Yeah. I'm partially agree with Alex. I think she was different at that time, and so they didn't really like her look in the beginning, and I know that over the years she tried to reach that certain criterias, but it probably was tough. So think I think she probably could have. I don't know if she did second place at one point.
Well, I think at the 90 and 91 was second place, and then she was in the top five in the during the Linda era, not during the Corey Everson era, but that was the highest she got. But I know there was a couple of close calls. I think maybe 80 and maybe 89. But again, it goes back to what the judges wanted. And at the time, Corey Everson was a champion, and
Yeah,
she was very dominant. She had a great look to her, very
yeah,
feminine, great,
yeah. She
yeah, and
looked
that's
it
why.
more. She Not to cut you off. She looked it
Go
more
ahead.
appealing to them. As you can see, after she had a career in bodybuilding, she did movies and stuff like that, and so she had that look. I mean, she did have muscle, and and I know how Hollywood is with women with muscle, but she had that feminine look where Beth Francis, she didn't really have too much of a feminine look like that. So you know that's all I'm
Mhm.
gonna say.
Yeah, we have a comment from man Jeff. Jeffy just popped out. It says, "Guys, have a good day. Happy Fourth of July. Appreciate that,
Thank you.
Jeff."
Like,
Shout, shout. He says, "Sorry, George. Just get decided that you guys are welcoming people like me and other people to do the same thing." Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what? This is about as fans, especially of women bodybuilders, female bodybuilders. We appreciate when like when I get comments. I got a comment from one guy. I interviewed his mom last week, and he said, that's my mom. I appreciate the interview. I said, I appreciate that, and people like you, Jeff, who come through, to share your thoughts. Um, Shout out to here. We got here from uh, PLJ. I think that's his name. He says, "Do you support the competitors in women's bodybuilding coming in bigger, or do you think they have to downsize a bit?" Well, women's bodybuilding is the ceiling. I would say. When we look at the other divisions, like especially you look at figure and look at even I would say I would go to the lower end, like divisions like figure, bikini, and wellness, where the girls are getting bigger, they should downsize. Even physique should downsize because we got women right now in physique who should be doing his bodybuilding, but they use that excuse that I'm not big enough. I know, like you can say that, keep saying that, but the fact is, some of those ladies right now are at the level where they, like we just saw Sarah Bradley made that switch. That's a smart thing. Um, Also, you hear from Jeff. He says this. He says, "I think other people should have us so think like this when they have like a discussion series. Any from the fans and the athletes. Yeah, we should do that. And he says, "This is, I would love to be a judge." Oh yeah, you think you would? And also he says this. He says, "Do you guys remember the cartoon Showbiz Bugs? I I'm writing a modern version of it. Showbiz Bugs. I think I don't know, nine. I don't know. Also, we got here. This is from Roy. We got him for a long time. It says, "Hey guys, hey Roy, haven't seen you in a long time. Thanks for coming through." But one of the young lady who had a great look to her, great physique, great femininity. Too bad she never did get that shot. She came couple close couple of times, and that is Anja Langer. If you remember Anja, she's originally
Yeah.
from Germany. She had a just a great. I think she was, I think one thing I think she was a little bit undersized. I would say at the time compared to you put against like here you have Ella Van Morris, you got Corey, and you have Angela Langer, and she had a great look to her. One thing was she had I think next to we got here right here next to Bev, she had a great set of abs. I think she had a great smooth, very athletic built. I would say very attractive young lady. Her career, she competed for at least 2 or 3 more years, and then she stepped away from bodybuilding. Now she's back in Germany. She has a family. She's doing other stuff. She just had an amazing look to her.
Yeah, yeah. I just knew about her like recently. I know she was like second place in the 1988 Miss Olympia.
Yeah, it was close. And I think after '88, that's when she started to step away from bodybuilding. And again, she had just something about her. Just I think she had advantage of youth. She was attractive. She had a beautiful build. I mean, if she was competing today, she would be figure. If you look at the criteria, because or maybe even some might say even bikini, because you look at the girls bikini now, they're getting this condition. But she had a great look to her. I was a fan of hers. I think she had a beautiful body.
Yeah, I tried to reach out to her a bit, but I don't think she was really she kind of values her private life, so just left her alone.
Yeah. Quite a few ladies who step away from sport. And there's some ladies I can't even find on social media. We have a Facebook or IG, or it might have something like what was that? What was it before Facebook? It was God. Um, was it? I forgot the name of it. I had an
I
account, but I
mean, the
didn't
thing
use
is,
it.
uh, and I
Um,
was about to say, you gonna say something or?
Go ahead, say something.
No, I was. The thing is, it's like when you do kind of want to reach out to these women, man. It's like you you want to like know more about them. Like when you're like interacting, but they're not really like open to like somebody interviewing them and stuff. I mean, that's their right, but at the same time, it's like wow, you want to learn about that person, like what was they going, what were they going through, competing and stuff like that. Their experience basically. I
Mhm.
mean, because it's like a turn page with them, like to a point where they're almost forgotten, and I know it's like probably like you could learn from YouTube and all these other things like magazines and stuff like that, but I think you're curious, and so they when they like don't want to do it, it's like oh man, well it's an opportunity. That's the best way I could try to explain. So
Yeah, because especially us who are fans who follow the sport, and we especially if we've been like I said, I've been following for since the good part of the '80s, and I've seen some ladies that came and gone during their times, and when like I got the opportunity went there interviewed Sue Price and Nancy Lewis and the late Rhonda Lee Charisma. I mean, those ladies are legends. They competed in the part of the '80s and '90s. when I was really growing up and getting really, and when I was going to my pubescent age when I discovered these women. And it was, to me, it's a great opportunity to hear their stories and to share it with people who might be fans out there who say, what's like one person I'm, I'm wondering where she is. It's Kim Perez. I mean, she was just amazing. I mean, I said to Nancy that her and Kim kind of looked like they were bookends because it was so much similar. Uh, but she just kind of disappeared. I mean, I'm wondering where she's at, what she's doing. I mean, some others there's some ladies who are on social media. I reached out a couple of times, but they hadn't responded back or not interested in. But I'm patient. Maybe they change their minds. Now, another lady who was just, I would say she was kind of like a bit like Corey in some ways. She was blonde, she was attractive. She even came close to being Miss Olympia a couple of times, but she was competing in the good part of the Corey Everson area and also the good part of the Linda Murray area, and that is Sandy Riddell. And Sandy had a great look
Yeah, I
to it,
remember her.
blonde, tan. She was just amazing physique. One thing about Sandy, she was a firefighter, and if you remember Sandy Dow, I mean,
Yeah, I remember her. I remember her.
I've heard of her, yeah.
yeah, she had a great physique. Some say she was, close to the title a couple of times, especially when she was up against, Corey Everson. She had a couple of shots back in '89, and I think somewhat maybe kind of close in '88. I mean, she kept competing up a good part of the '90s, even into the Linda Murray era of women's bodybuilding. You know, um, Here she is on the stage with quite a few ladies that are well known. You have here, wait, it's got to kind of say, you have Linda and you have Sharon Marvel. There's uh, Sandra Blackie, the late, uh, you know, you know, I forgot her name. I hate to forget her name. There's Jackie Priestley. There goes her on stage with Laura Creval. There's Bev and Linda. Shirley Betty right there at the end. Some amazing, beautiful women. I mean, you know, and Sandy came close. I mean, this was. I think she was maybe in the top three that year because uh, Laura looked great. Sandra looked great. I mean, Bev is. This is what her last year is. She came in. She was going out like a beast, and this is classic, beautiful women's bodybuilding, beautiful lines, beautiful shapes, amazing women, and Sandy had that. I mean, just amazing. But I just wonder. I think she had a couple of Miss International titles, but never got to main title that was Miss Olympia.
I think mostly getting to shape or into beyond average condition is mental mindset. It's complete focus, and it's not only your diet, but it's your rest, it's your training, it's your whole positive attitude.
I wish I could show the whole day, but it's a good routine. This back then when they had uh, really good long routines for women's bodybuilding. I mean, you know,
Why they cut
I
it
mean,
short?
hmm?
Why they cut it
Well,
short
you
now?
know, because back in the day, women's bodybuilding had its own show, and men's had their own show. But then what they did was when they then you had coming new divisions like fitness and also I think when they started the Olympia weekend, you only had women's bodybuilding, fitness, and men's bodybuilding. And then when you created more divisions, you had to cut for time because women's bodybuilding had their own show, men had
Yeah,
their own show.
yeah, I understand.
So
I
yeah,
understand.
so they cut for time because now you have more divisions. You have over nearly 10 divisions now. We have here, well, folks, we have here a stranger here. We hadn't seen him in a long time. Shout out to a man, balls deep.
Hey, what's up?
He says Andrea got it on lock. I agree with you. Also, he says this. What's up and salute. Thank you, brother. His one of his favorite moniker is Chicago in here. Yes, always Chicago in here. And also he says Schmo gang, gang. He got to say that a long time. And he says peace and blessings to the chat. Also, we have here something for Roy. Shout out to Roy. He said this. Sarah just needs more meat on her legs. She can beat out Lavinia to place the top three. I don't think she can beat Ashley Andrea. They have elite black genetics. I gotta give you that, brother. Yeah, it's that elite black genetics, hard to beat. Also, he says this says, let's talk about the current athletes. Well, we can talk about it another time, but this is about the ladies who had that close call to being Miss Olympia. We can talk about it another time, but this is about the ladies who came that close, very close, to being the Miss Olympia. Now, one person who I say I've talked about her because I'm a fan of hers, and she in her career was close. I would say she's like I said, the uncrowned Miss Olympia, and that is Laura Craval. I'm a fan of Laura Craval. She had a beautiful look, beautiful physique. A couple of times she was a first runner-up in a career in women's bodybuilding. Well, just just amazing qualities. And we talked about her last week. I think last week, the week before last, we did the thing about American Muscle, and Laura's just great. Just had a great physique to her, great look to her. This is a picture of her. It was kind of, I think, the most recent picture is, she's married again. Her husband and her, they are into religion. She runs a church. This was a few years ago. This is the most recent picture I can find. If I can find on it's on Girls with Muscles, and it's her with her husband. She was married to another man, Chris Aceto, who is now he's a coach and trainer. Um, Lloyd just had a great physique to her. Being here she is along with Sandra Riddell and also Ellen Van Mars. Just beautiful, as I say, caramel skin. I think she's one of those ladies that she's been a Miss Olympia champion. And I'm sorry, Miss International champion. But you never get the opportunity for Miss Olympia.
Laura, she's 5'4", 140, 32 years old, Mario.
And she just got married a few months ago.
Congratulations to her. She married Chris Aceto, a trainer.
That's right. They've been together for a few years already.
I'll tell you what, as I say, she's knocked on the door to the title, but I don't know if she's ever looked better.
I haven't seen her any better than this. She's at her best.
Wait till she shows off her abs, folks. Wait till you see the front shot of the abs. And that back isn't anything to sneeze at either. It's great.
Check out the leg hamstrings too.
Now, to hear that music, in most cases, folks, this is original music from these competitors. They either had the music developed for them or they bought the rights to it. There is a great shot of the lower body of Laura Craval.
And Joe, her posing has really improved from previous years.
This is her second year that she looks very hard. Second year in a row. This is her fourth overall, Ms. O.
She's a very hard worker, very dedicated to the sport, and keeps coming back. Always improves.
Look at that. Woo! What brings her back, Mario?
I don't know, a true love for the sport.
She was fourth last year, a former world amateur champion. She's got a nice,
She looks
upbeat
great.
performance. She does look good. I liken her to Rich Gaspari of men's bodybuilding because Rich has always been there, always been close, but hasn't been able to slam the door down. Neither has Laura. But I'll tell you what, coming out of the prejudging, she was ranked in the top 5, and you
That's
have
right.
to respect that.
This just might be her night.
A recent major title for Laura was the 1990 Ms. International. That's a biggie. She won it.
Ooh, that shows off the legs and the back.
Oh, that looked good.
I, as a young man, I had many times had, you know, pleasure myself with her pictures. She just had an amazing body. I mean, and that beautiful caramel skin, Shout out to my man Balls Deep. He says this. Smash the like button. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Also, he says this. Make me a moderator. Well, you are a standard moderator. I don't got you the main moderator, so yeah, keep that. So, we got here. This is Haley. And it's easy. There's the smiley heart eyes. Also, we got here from here. He says you should do an interview with Angela. Yo, I would love to, but the thing is, it's up to her. I mean, I can't. I would love to do an interview with her, but again, it's up to her if she wants to do an interview with me. Shout out to man Roy. He says this. He says Christina could have been Miss Olympia. She's the one who destroyed everything for herself. The worst rebound ever. That's a lot of Christinas. Are you talking about Christina Mendoza? I don't think so. I like Christina Mendoza, but the problem is she's a problem being inconsistent. She is an attractive lady, but the thing is, one thing she's never really come in is conditioned. And also, again, as my man Big Keith said, she's not as uh, consistent. Now she's stepping down from women's badminton to wellness. She would do well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe she did it maybe a few years ago, probably, but now I don't know. There's so many ladies. What you guys think about Laura Craval? Because I know most of you guys have something to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, back in the day, I thought she was attractive. I mean, I don't know if she would have been Miss Olympia, but she was a familiar face. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, same. I do. I try to see what could have placed her top. I think she had the credential. She has the uh, the pieces there. I just feel like there was something that would have you know
Well, I think she had a great look to her. She one thing she did was get breast implants because that kind of affect her overall look because they said that she had probably the worst set because they didn't look as well put together. They're kind of like if you're gonna get them, you got to get them right. They want to be more a little bit close together, a little bit more. But I think that's one thing that hurt her. So many things that factor into this sport when you go to judging and
When did
criteria.
she leave?
I mean,
When did she
again, she was
leave?
close. I mean, she was
When,
knocking the door a couple of times. Hmm?
when did she leave? Like on bodybuilding. You know what year? Like what
Well,
was her
she
last
did
year?
take. Well, she did come back in 2022, and she was competing as a women's lightweight. To me, she really downsized herself, to
Yeah.
try to fit in the women's lightweight division. She last competed as a full, well put together was back in 1999, and then she took those next 2000, 2001, and she came back in 2002, and she was like lesser size to herself she was before. I mean, I remember when I saw her, I said, that can't be Linda Crevel. She looked so not as because she wanted to do women's lightweight, and and she dropped a lot of size and shape. I would say good
There
amount of
were,
size to
there
do
were
that
other
division.
women. There were other women that was like that. Lisa, what's her name? Lisa Lewis. She was like that. She wanted to she wanted to reduce her size because she didn't really like her she didn't like her size big enough, big size. She reduced her size. That's the simple way. It wasn't no different than what you're saying about Laura Crevel, So yeah.
Well, we got to think about it. Lisa Lewis is a big woman, and it's harder for women for that size because Lisa Lewis standing at about 5'8", 5'10", and Laura was like as you heard in the commentary, she's like about 5'4". And women who are naturally bigger, it's harder to bring down that weight. If you're a smaller woman, it get easier for you. But
But she
she
didn't
really
like her
publicized at one
size.
time.
Like she felt that
I know
not
she
to
like her
cut you
size,
off.
but
She just didn't like it, cause I mean, yeah, cause they at that time, I think what's her name, Kim Travesky, she wanted to do that fitness division and stuff, and then I think Lisa Lewis, wanted to kind of follow the footstep of like being placed better, at that time. So
yeah. But with Kim's Vesey, with her going to fitness, she had a fitness background, and but then to me, I wish she just stayed out of the bodybuilding period. I mean, I could have respect for you when you were Miss Olympia, then you come back doing another division. I just don't have. I'm not a big fan of Kim Zabesky. That's my personal opinion. We had a comment from man Caleb Hill. Hall. He says this says, uh, sh- "You should interview Robert Bova. I would love to interview her, but it's up to her if she want to do an interview." Also, we have here from Kira says, "I like Lee Carus, Kirus. I mean, yeah, we follow Lee, and we do. Me and both Kira did interviews with her. I think you know she would make. I know she's focusing more on CrossFit, but I think she would make a great bodybuilder if she ever want to make that decision to jump back in. Shout out to Caleb. He says, I like Rip Fixin. Oh, you're just talking about Andrea Sauer. Also, I'm a fan of Lisa Cross.
he
Yeah,
likes
Lisa Cross is an
everybody,
amazing lady.
man. He likes he
She,
likes everybody. He's a fan of everybody. Just say that you're a fan of everybody.
yeah,
He
I mean,
always putting, like, I'm
like
getting
he's
on
like,
him because he always putting in the comments, "I love female bodybuilders" and stuff like that. So that's why, you know.
yeah, yeah. Everybody's a fan of her. Now, at the tail end, there was a young lady who had that. If she had, you know, came back, it was in '94, and she took second, and that was her pro debut. She did a couple of shows that year, plus Olympia, and she was close to get the title. And even probably if she came back, she probably could have beat Linda Murray that year. That is Denise Usaski. And Denise, is an amazing young lady. I mean, she competed for a good while. Finally got her Olympic qualification in '94. She turned pro, I think it was '93, and then she made a pro debut the next year. And she was just this. They call her the Golden Girl. She blonde, strong, beautiful physique. Great poser. I mean, I remember the suit, the golden suit. She wore it both here and she did the Jantana that year.
Mm.
And she's was just one of those ladies that had that great potential. Uh, Whatever happened, she was going through some stuff. Here she is up here with Linda and Laura. And just look at the shake, the quad shake. She had a beautiful physique, great look to her. I would think the judges would probably have picked her because she has that she kind of had that Linda Murray, Tanya Knight look to her. But my guess, particularly, And I think it affected her that she didn't get to her qualification and become Miss Olympia.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, she was a beautiful bodybuilder. She was like one of the faces I've seen growing up. You know, she was in a lot of magazines.
Yeah,
Mm.
I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what?
Denise is an interesting case. Yeah, I mean, considering what happened years later, I'm glad she's doing a lot better than she had before. I felt really sad what happened years later. What happened to her? I'm glad she's doing
Yeah,
a
she
lot
went through
better.
lots of. Yeah, she went through lots of some mental issues, alcoholism. She was homeless, and just a while back, some friends set up a GoFundMe, and they found her a place. And here she is, and she did a couple of stuff. She did post stuff on social media.
Hi, I'm Denise Bukowski, former Miss Olympia runner-up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy Merrill. I'm a friend of Denise Rukowski's. We are posting a story that encapsulates part of her journey, and I think Denise has something to say to everyone.
I just want to say thank you for all your donations and your thoughts and your prayers over the last few years. You made a big difference in my life. Thank you for just all y'all done. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Hi, I'm Denise Bukowski.
She had it's great to see that she's doing a lot better now. She's getting help. She's working out. Really, she's changed her life. This is a recent of her in the gym. She's even helping people because even though she's no longer compete and has competed for over, you know, my would say nearly 30 years, she still
Mm.
has that, understanding. I mean, she looks, in good shape because you got to think about it. She's in her uh, early 60s and she was living on the streets. She was homeless. She had, she looked like she's doing great. I mean, she just had a beautiful look to her, great physique. But now I'm glad that she's gotten the help she needs, and she's really has made improvements in her life.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
We got here's some comments here. We got from a man. Shout out to my man. Rory says the current WWE competitors would have destroyed these '90s girls. Well, I wouldn't say so much destroyed, but again, if you think about it, you had Linda Murray, you have Vicky Gates, you had Laura Craval, you had Kim Zavesky, so many others. Destroyed probably because they're a lot bigger, but they will look more like women's physique that when it first started than what it is today. You know. Um, Shout out to my man here. Kara says, I wish I could find that vampire movie that Denise Messino did. I think a lot of guys want to see some stuff with Denise Messino. But as I say, talk about also ladies I mentioned, Vicky Gates. And big fan of Vicky Gates. She had a great look to her. She most of the time Miss International competitor. She was from Texas. I know my dear friend Eunice knew her well back in the day. I remember when she decided to step away bodybuilding because after it was like in around 2001 where she came close to getting the title, but then again politics. I think she was
Mm.
second in the heavyweight division. Some say she should have won that year and even had these two Miss Olympia titles, one in 2000 and 2001. But again, it goes back to politics. And I've always been a fan of Vicky Gates. So I'm gonna put, she's just a great look to her. Also she was at one time she used to date and she was engaged to Ronnie Coleman. They both were
Oh,
single parents. He had a daughter, she had a daughter, and they used to always hang out and train together. Vicky was just a beautiful lady. And one person I think who kind of looks like her in a way is Mila Ash. So here she is, Vicky.
hmm. I could see the resemblance. Yeah.
The heavyweight and overall titles go to Vicky Gates from Dallas, Texas, who wins the sum of $14,000. And despite being a heavyweight, Vicky still believes that she isn't over the top with her physique.
I feel like as long as I don't take it to the extreme, and like when I wear my clothes, you actually can't tell I have a lot of muscle. So I think as long as I can keep it to that level to where when I wear clothes and you can't tell, I think I can actually get away with it, unless I'm just unclothed like I am now.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
she
it was
again.
from that. Yeah, actually remember that documentary. That yeah, back when the Learning Champ or TLC, you like to call it.
Yeah, it was. I think it featured quite a few ladies. I think it was Rosemary Jennings, a couple others was in this documentary. She was a multiple-time Miss International competitor. A couple of times was close to the title. I mean, she had a great look to her. I mean, uh, again, one of my favorites. I mean, this is from Weird Physique World. They did a lot of video stuff like that. She did a lot of posing and a lot of cupcake stuff. I would say. I
Mm.
mean, she just had a great look to her about it. I mean, that's why I see again. I see some similar to her in Mela Ash, especially in the eyes. I was next to Laura Creval. Vicky Yates was one of my favorites, my all-time favorites.
Yeah, she got this Caribbean look for some reason. Just looking at her.
Yeah, she does. Very, very island. As you know, this is her with her then fiance, the eight-time Mr. Olympia, Roddy Coleman. Yeah, they were a great couple. They were a power couple, but they never, tied a knot. I think Roddy married somebody else later, and then she moved on. She even promoted a show. She had her own show in Texas. I think it Kate's Classic. But you know, she was just one of those amazing ladies. Here she is with the future Miss Olympia, Iris Kyle, and Iris, you can see these are just two amazing women. It's just great muscle, great density. I mean, to me, Vicky, to me, should have been a Miss Olympia during her career.
Yeah, yeah, I can see the density. Yeah, maybe.
Here we got here a comment from this is Randy. He says, "I won't be that interested until Mary Denham gets qualified next year." Well, as you know, Mary Damon, aka Miss Beefy, is actually competing. She's going to be doing North Americans, which is going to be the 1st of September. And we cross our fingers and hope she does well. I mean, I'm a big fan of Mary, and she's been a guest on both me, KL's channel. We
Who's
hear,
who's Marion?
well, it's Miss Beefy.
I'd never heard of her. Is she new? Is
Mhm.
she a newcomer or?
What she just finally made her bodybuilding debut last year, and she's planning on competing. Um, this
Maybe show a
this
picture of her. Maybe.
well, I'm thinking to pull some up. Mary, let's see, it says Mary Fitness. She's give me a moment. So I can find something I can pull. Oh yeah, here it is. You know, she just posted stuff on her social media. I kind of see her kind of like if you look at her, I see kind of a slightly semblance to um, Ashley Alicia Young. I would say she's maybe because she's short and she's very well developed. Mary's a young lady who's determined. She's coming in. She's really working on conditioning. That's one thing I think most definitely she needs to work on because condition is very important. She's been through a lot. A while back she had a heart attack, and because of that kind of set her back a little bit. She was hoping to make her competitive debut a couple of years ago, and then she's working with another coach who it didn't really mesh with her. But Mary has a great personality about her. I mean, again, she is attractive young lady. She has a nice build to her. I mean,
Yeah, her biceps are amazing.
Yeah, look, not bad so far. I wish her a lot. Wish her luck.
Yeah. So she's going to be doing North Americans, and possibly, depending on how it looks, I think she might get a pro card. Mhm. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. So, guys, now we have some comments here. Shout out to again. This is from Randy. Says she's just a good friend of mine. Oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. Also, you have Jeff. He's back. He said Jeff says I know Denise Messino or Lisa Cross. All right, that's cool. And also, he says this. He says, Robert Bova, I would love to interview Caleb Hall. Well, we hope maybe in the future you get the opportunity. Another lady whose names popped up, who actually she came close because back in, as you know, 1 year they did the first time they ever did Miss Olympia out of the country was when we went to Prague, and that was in '98. That was the year when uh, Kim was a champion, and that was Yolanda Hughes who came close to get a title. Yolanda had a great look to her, amazing body, just beautiful complexion, skin. I mean, just also she had a great background with with the aerobics gymnastics, and that really was she really had a great routine. Right. I know I interviewed one of her clients, Sarah, a while back, because that's when she told me that. Yeah, this is her. One of the most recent pictures, Rolanda. She looks great. I know a few years ago she got married and she moved to Germany for a while. She lived there with her husband, got divorced. Now she's living back in the States. I think she lives in Arizona. And she's coaching. This is Sarah um, uh, Tashanon, and I interviewed Sarah last year. And Sarah does figure. But Yolanda had a great look to her. And also, she had a great skill set. She was very well rounded acrobat.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, Yolanda was cool.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. You here she is. She's one of the few women to she was cutting flips and stuff that in this was I think it was 93 or 94. You know, she's very entertaining. She has a great posing team. She's doing the moonwalk. Lucky she has oil on her that she can move a lot better. But she had a great physique to her. She was close to the title in 99, 98, and she did compete in 99. Then after that, she retired from bodybuilding. Um, just beautiful chocolate sister. I'm a fan of hers. I mean, I found this while I was, as you know, on Denise Messina, it was Denise Rosowski's site, and it's from I think it's from the last I think it was maybe 92, 93. It just got posted. I saw it this afternoon where she is. That's you see Denise, you see Yolanda, that's Kim, David Mugley, and also Sharon Benoit. And this is the one for where is it? It was there. It is. Right here. Taking its time. Very talented, skilled woman. Yeah, the great Yolanda Hughes. As you know, again, she's living her life, enjoying coaching and training. Uh, Shout out to Jeff says Miss Beefy should compete. Well, she already competed last year. She's making her shooting for Olympia qualification. She's actually shooting for a pro qualification in a couple of months. So so there's so many ladies that competed over the years and over time. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but name a couple ladies you thought, in your opinion, was close to getting a title. So you, Alex.
Let's okay. I'm trying to figure out. I already talked about. Actually, I talked about someone around the mid. I'm trying to think of some competitor back in the 2000, like during the 2000s decade, like the early years. It was kind of close. I don't see but no see and I'm trying to remember. There were like so many competitors. I'm trying to remember who was close that year.
Right, so many ladies that are close. As you know, back in 2012, 2013, those ladies was very close. I got to meet her personally, and that is Alina Popa. And Lena was close to the title. Some say that she should have been Miss Olympia, uh, but Iris was just so dominant. You know, some would always blame Iris for the reason why women's bodybuilding went away from the Olympia. But again, it goes back to the judges. They're the ones who set the criteria. They're the ones who set the standard. If you wanted a certain woman that fit the criteria, who had a great muscle and great femininity, why not Alina Popa? I mean, she had here she is with my girlfriend. Shout out to her. I mean, shout out to both Alina and Andrea. I mean, she had a great look to her. Originally from Romania. Now she's working as a promoter for shows.
especially
You
the
know,
especially the Lena Popa Classic. I'm actually glad they actually created this contest in dedication to her. That is pretty impressive.
yeah. I mean, she also does the Romania Muscle Fest, which is coming up about this time, the end of the year. It's her home country, Romania. Alina had a great look to her.
Yeah.
I mean, just if his thing, this is a theory I say. If she had won Miss Olympia back in 2014, I don't think they would have dropped the Miss Olympia from the Olympia weekend. I think they would have kept it because she had truthfully they had the Miss Olympia they wanted. Here she is doing she did some sessions too. A lot of ladies had to make a little money on the side because bodybuilding is an expensive sport. You know, even though she's not in condition, she still looks great. I mean, you know, great look to her, great femininity, great muscle. I mean, again, people didn't like Iris, but this could have been the Miss Olympia could have had, but the judges chose to go with Iris Kyle. This was, I think, back in 2012. She looks really good.
Yeah, she really did. I mean, yeah, I could have seen. I think it would have been a different future if she won that year. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you feel like she wasn't as conditioned compared to, um, compared to Iris. But again, she had a great look to her, great muscle, great femininity. If anything, this is the person you probably would want to be uh, the Miss Olympia. Yeah. Or pull it up here. Yeah. This is like, she had a great look to her.
Which
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell which year was this?
I think this had to be 2012 or 2013. I think probably 2012. 2012.
Yeah,
How
see.
many shows she did?
Counting Olympia, a couple others, I think. Counting her good parts of the, I would say, early 2000s. She did quite a few overseas in Europe, and then at least I think she did at least four Olympias. Because she didn't. I think she didn't make her debut to 2020 to 2011, and then she did at least two Rising Phoenix, and she did the Tampa Bay Pro. So that got at least, I would say, as a pro, maybe 10 or more shows.
Yeah, I wish she could have been Miss Olympia, but it is what it is. I think she had a nice look. I mean, I was a fan of hers in something else.
What about
Where I'm assuming this is. I'm gonna show you. This is what you must have been a fan of hers before, because this is. I was looking and I found this where she's doing some session wrestling.
Yeah, that's how I know her. Like she sticks in my head a lot. Like she used to do like this platform called Athena 2, and they would like make they had like a lot of female bodybuilders and session wrestlers, mixed together and making videos and stuff like that over the years. This was like probably like the 2010s. Yeah, that's when I had to see her like, yeah, like 2010. Just knowing her, I seen her.
Well, she had a beautiful physique. And I feel like maybe if she became Miss Olympia, either 2013, 2014, we wouldn't lost Miss Olympia from the Olympia show the next year. But again, the judges went with Iris. Now this is something somebody told me. A lady I was friendly with. She told me that one lady could have been Miss Olympia if she didn't do something that ruined her chance. And I think she had a great look to her. Could she always be Miss Olympia? Who knows? But that is, we just heard name mentioned, and that's Denise Masino. And it was back in, I think, around 2003, 2004, when she had weight classes. And, she had a great look to her, beautiful lines, beautiful physique. But again, Denise decided to do something. It was she had this mask, and back it was like back when they used to have the ladies used to wear costumes and did performances on stage. Denise used to have this mask. It was like kind of like a
A
dominatrix. It
dominatrix man.
it had spikes and stuff on it, and I think this person told me, because this is what they know. They said that they told Denise not to wear it, but she did anyway, and I think that hurt her chances on getting the title. Denise had a great look to her, a beautiful body. I think one thing also was that she was very well endowed. If you go back to some of the ladies back there who did get breast implants, they didn't get overly big implants. They got moderate size implants. But she has, you know. I remember there was a couple of times she had a couple of wardrobe malfunctions.
Yeah, man, she was a attractive bodybuilder.
and she was, and she had some. She does have some appealing features to her. I do know she also did a documentary some time ago, actually, something based on comic superhero. It was like I think she was like a fan of comic book superheroes, I believe. So
Yeah,
She sometimes had her own. She had her own magazine, which was Muscle Elegance back in the day, and they did a lot of photo sessions, video sessions. She did some let's say R-rated to X-rated stuff.
yeah,
Uh, I have a couple of issues of a Muscle Elegance.
yeah. I had one of her issues. I remember I bought it in this newsstand and stuff.
They used to have like a paper bag cover on it, or is it
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she would interview. She had like interview articles of other women that did sessions and stuff. And yeah,
Mhm. And also, just a fun fact about it, she has a twin sister.
yeah, you yeah. I heard you mention that before.
Yeah, twin sister's not as interested in being a bodybuilder, but it'd be something think about. to Beth to Denise Messino's. I mean, even one her sister has another name, but imagine this twin sisters.
Mm.
The opportunity missed. So, gentlemen, we're not going to do too much longer.
I
You
think there
know,
was one more competitor. I think there was one more competitor I actually did remember. I think she was almost. I think she was like one of the top bodybuilders. I think she would have had a good. She would have had a chance to become Olympia. Um. Now, what about Debbie Lazetsky? What? Remember her?
Debbie, yeah, because I think in 2012 she almost, she was like second to Iris, and Debbie had a great look to her. Uh,
Yeah, she. Yeah,
Blonde.
I think she was like one of the most gorgeous women. I think she was one of the most gorgeous women around that time to have this much muscle at the time. I think she was. She had what I think she was close. She had the right amount to. I think she had what it take. She took she had what it took.
Debbie had a great look to her, very feminine, great aesthetics. She wanted to come back what after her last Olympia, but then I think she had some injuries and stuff, and then she kind of downsized a bit. Um, I remember this is from a photo op she did with this um I forgot the guy, the cameraman. I think he was a German dude. I mean,
I think
stunning
his name is
eyes.
Martin
Hmm?
Strahler. Martin Strahler, I believe his name is.
I think that's what it is. Very stunning eyes, very feminine, and also, I mean, Debbie just. I think she had that look. If she could have been Miss Olympia, you know, things could have changed. Things could have been different. But again, the judges went with Iris. I mean, this would have been something that they could really promote. Because they didn't. A lot of I think, truthfully, the IB and didn't like Iris that much because she didn't look like the everyday, very attractive, appealing woman. But also Debbie, like some of the other ladies, did quite a
I
few
think some of
session
her old
videos.
pictures she didn't look too bad. Like on Iris Car. Like I don't know. Like she didn't to me, she didn't look too bad, in the early years of competing.
Yeah, I think it's over time, especially what they use and how they train, it can get a little harsh. It can change your aspects of your look of femininity. But
Yeah.
again, Iris had a great physique, and if it was just how she looked, they wouldn't have kept giving the title. She just had a great physique, and Linda and Debbie had a great physique. Again, very attractive, very stunning. I mean, uh, if she competed today, I think I could see it doing WPD.
Hmm, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at the women now; she could done pretty well in WPD.
Mm.
So, anyway, gentlemen, this is a interesting topic we had here, and I know some of you who follow the sport remember many of these ladies. Uh, Quite a few ladies. The list is extensive, but the most definitely the ones who really stick out, who really came into the sport. Some were just they came in and boom, they were gone, and some really made an impact. Doing their careers in bodybuilding. Again, this is what we want to really remember our legends. I wish, like Kale says, I wish more of them come out and say, hey, let's talk about what was like when they're coming up as bodybuilders, how they think of the sport, where the look has going now. Who they feel is truthfully represents the division.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them they, after bodybuilding, they just want to have a a private life. So, I don't know. You know, it's it's like a turn page. It's like it's already not a popular sport like that. And so if you don't put yourself out there, nobody's not gonna know of you. You don't have to be us, but just somebody interview. You can interview somebody, but it is what it is. I don't know. Like it's a strange phenomenon. So
Well, again, it goes back to like I just saw an interview that Sheila Olick and announced it. Sheila Olick is going to be doing the Atlanta Pro. As Bad Rap is sponsoring that show. They're sponsoring women's bodybuilding for that show. So Sheila Olick says the same thing too. Like, we need to be more out there. You don't have to do like me or KL or the Female Body Channel or David or Claudio of hardcore bodybuilding, female bodybuilding fan, you can do like I saw this one lady. Her name is Jenny Gary, and she is IFB pro, but she doesn't compete. She got a pro card a few years ago, but she doesn't compete. And she did this podcast with two women. It's called Cleavage and Coffee. And you know what I mean by cleavage. And you don't have to do reach out to some of these podcasters and talk about bodybuilding. You can find somebody who wants to bring you on and share your stories. But as us fans, we'd love to have you on. We want to hear what was like back in the day, what was the lifestyle was. I remember when Nancy Lewis told me back in the day, she didn't have to worry about too much. She was, she got paid and she was making a good living with bodybuilding. But that has changed because not too many companies will pay athletes. They give you a code you can share and you can buy products. But just those days, I would love to interview some ladies from those days, even ladies today who are in the sport. Especially people like some of us want to say Angela Yo. She has to be open and willing. I would love to have Ashley Jones out here. I most definitely would love to have Andrea. I wouldn't know what to do if I. But anyway, so gentlemen, we're not gonna hold y'all too much longer. I appreciate the guests that came through. Um, and it's coming up. It's actually peak week for the Portugal Pro. I'm about to see if the list is out. Nope, the list is not out. Probably it's gonna be posted maybe later today. So once it's out, I'm gonna post some videos and stuff about who's competing this year at the Portugal Pro. As you know, it's one of the few shows that have women's bodybuilding on the schedule. We just had the Imperial, which was was about a week or so ago, and so few opportunities. We got to hear from a man. Jeff he says this. Jeff says, "I had fun." Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm glad you had fun. Also, shout out to Jeff. He says, "Let's watch show together." What show are you talking about, Jeff? I mean, you got to say specifically. You know, you just says. Wait a minute. He says this. It says, "Do they have any shows for free on YouTube? What kind of shows?
Exactly.
I think he's saying the bodybuilding shows. That's what he's trying to say.
Well, you can do this. The Female Body Channel, they posted some videos from the Imperial. So did the hardcore, female bodybuilding fan. That's Claudio. He posted some stuff. David just posted some stuff from the Imperial. Not the Ultimate. He was there. It's some backstage stuff. All you got to do is just click it. All you got to do most of the time is just put in search, and sometimes there pop up like depending on what show you're looking for. Just put in search and you'll find it. So there's a lot of people who will, cut some clips and stuff from the shows and post it on their social media platforms. Shout out to man Ken. He says, "Man, just woke up. You're all in and eat early. Not early because brother. What's there much to talk about? You know what? I might do one more lady, and she did come close. She won." Because the year that Denise Messina was supposed to be Miss Olympia, she was close to the title. She did win in the lightweight class, but she didn't win the overall heavyweight overall title, and that is Diana Cadeau. American Diana Cadeau. She was originally a Jamaican lady who lived in Canada. She had a beautiful look, a beautiful physique, some amazing eyes. She competed for a good while in the good part of the 90s and 2000s. She did, she was a date Kai Green. Diana was she's just exotic, beautiful physique, beautiful body. I remember she did this video session where she's punching heavy bag topless. She had these red gloves and these red little bikini bottoms. I mean, just beautiful. Those eyes. She has very light hazel eyes. But if you've seen Diana recently, she has, changed some things, her look. Here's a picture of her now. She's she's I think she got her weight snatched in. She has very well defined accoutrements. Also, she did a little stuff, some other stuff too. She got some really serious and cosmetic surgery, cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, she don't look too great. I'm not gonna lie.
She looks fine. I mean, I guess she wants to stand out
I
visually
like her
still.
old look. It just look out of place, man. It just that's me. I'm just she just not yeah. When they do all that surgery stuff, it's not great all the time.
Here she is. It was at the 2000, I think 2000, it was 2000 or 2001 with her and Iris Collins stayed together when they dropped their shorts. They're actually their jogging suit pant bottoms. I mean, I think one thing was an issue with her because she had a very awkward looking midsection. I mean, maybe that's one reason why she didn't place as well. But she had a great look to her, and a beautiful body. I mean, hmm, one of those ladies that really stood out for back in the day.
All right, who got the beat?
And that's Brenda Rennicott, right? Yeah, she was a close call too at the time too.
Yeah, she was a fitness competitor back in the day. Yeah, but Diana had a great look to her. We got here from a man Kid. He says, Brigitte Brizovac. I remember Brigitte. I mean, I think she had a great physique. I think she really didn't come as close. Wait a minute. Shout out to my man. He just said this. The Okay, the Portugal list is up, yo. Okay, let me quick check here. And thank you because I thought it was gonna be up sometime soon. So the Portugal list is up. So before we head out, and we're gonna see who's part of the lineup. And I hope we have some bodies. Come on, folks. We don't want to be too, especially for women's bodybuilding, but we don't want to be too much. So give me a second. Let me pull up the list. It is up. And for you guys who are fans, truthfully. So let me see if I can increase the zoom a little bit. All right.
It's the men's.
There go the men's. And see men's physique. Women's bodybuilding, we have at least 6 ladies. And that's pretty good. We have Osteo Burrito. One lady, her name is Parisa. I don't know her name, can't say it right. We have Anastasia Livanova, who just did the Imperial. We have Vanessa La Santana, Lori Santana, I believe. I think she was originally doing women's physique. Alita Oprah.
Yeah, she's competing again. So is her again.
And Haggett said this. I keep pronouncing the name. She's from Israel. We have a lot of ladies here in figure. And where's physique? No. Whoa! Whoa! Jada Beverly! Whoa! Whoa! Wow! I didn't see this coming. I know she was going to make a return, but wow! Congratulations, Jada! So she's making a return in Spain. We have Julia Cabacos, who just got a qualification at the Imperial. Anna, she's Italian. Sylvia Martinez, who also did the Imperial. Lika Ferdakova, we hadn't seen her compete maybe for a couple of years. Yasmin Gauche, I think that's the name. We have here Paola We have here Marcy. She's from Brazil, and Martina Pateca, who just also did the Imperial. But shout out to Jada Beverly. Saturday was her birthday. She just turned 40, and she's making a return. She's one of the only Americans doing this show.
What
I
show was
think we have
this again?
this is Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Yeah, in Spain. No, sorry, not Spain. Portugal Pro, and also she won the title last year. It's going to be a battle between because she beat Anastasia a couple of years ago when she competed. That's when she got her. I believe that was her first qualification for. That was during the pandemic. There was only two competitors that year, and also, but we have six ladies. We have six bodies. Two more than we had from the uh, you know, from the Imperial. I know some ladies not feel like they're ready. The cost of traveling, but at least six. It's better than four, and not as good as it was when at Toronto. We had at least 10. But again, maybe more American women want to come and compete, but again, that's another cost. Some money they might have to spend. But we have six ladies for women's bodybuilding. At least about let's say 8 for women's physique. Jada Beverly making a return. She's doing her doing the Spain show. Maybe we might should do another show later in the year. So, brothers, I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate y'all supporting me. KO, you got anything coming up? As we heard earlier.
Yeah, I got like an interview maybe tomorrow and Thursday. So yeah, I got I streamed your the live on my channel. And that's it. So I'm gonna wrap it up because I got other things I gotta take care of. So, but thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you for coming through.
See you later, Alex.
Okay. So, Alex, what you got going on this week, young man?
It's gonna be a busy week for me at work. It's gonna be this country's 250th birthday. I can't believe it's almost here.
Who cares? I don't. This country. All right, whatever. I might go to my sister. She might have a little something. I might go check it out and get some free food. That's about it. Other than that, I don't give a rat's ass. But anyway, brother, I thank you for coming through. I appreciate you, my man KL. I want to give a shout out to Ken for coming through. Shout out to Jeff, DJ Jeff, Caleb, also to Roy coming through. Haley, balls deep, brother. We hadn't seen you forever. And PJ, all who watch this, subscribe, follow my channel, support my content. Shout out to Josh. He couldn't make it because he has to work. He has something coming up, But thank y'all again for coming on. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And also coming up, I hope you enjoy your upcoming 4th of July holiday. To me, it doesn't mean shit to me because I'm always at home. I don't have a job, so I'm on vacation every day. So, But I appreciate my man here. Alex coming through. Appreciate my man KL coming through. Shout out to the ladies who are competing this weekend at the Portugal Pro. I will do videos and post that later on my social media platforms. And can't wait to see the outcome of this show. Anyway, it's me, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't like, subscribe. Good night, good luck, God bless. I'll see y'all around.